A 60 quid phone with a notch. I've said it before, I don't think I need to say it again, but I'm going to say it again. I love cheap technology, especially when it comes in at a price point that almost anyone can afford. Which is why I thought it was fantastic when I was sent this. This is the Blackview A60, which is a £60 or I think $60 smartphone with a notch and a dual camera on the back, 13 megapixel. So even though it's here in my hand, let's get it unboxed and we'll take a look. Before we look at the specs, we will just take a quick unboxing view of the device. So as we can see here, we've got the A60 dual SIM, dual standby. It is a 4G capable phone with a 6-inch screen of resolution 1280 by 600, 1GB of RAM, 16GB of ROM, a 4000 mAh battery, and we've got 13 megapixel dual cameras on the on the rear, and 5 megapixel front facing camera, which is good enough for the odd selfie. Let's take a look in the box. So if we just open that up, and we have the phone. Get that out. And the phone comes with a rubbery type plasticky thick case, which will protect it from all of the horrific elements and children. It did come with a screen protector pre-applied, but I did remove that because it had bubbles in it, which was a bit annoying. And if we take it out of its case, it's actually quite a slim phone for the price. So on the bottom we've got USB charging and data up the sides, and microphone just there, pinhole microphone. On the other side we've got a lock button and volume rocker, and on the top we have a headphone jack, which is great. On the back we've got the 2 cameras, so you can actually do a portrait effect, but it's not very good, to be honest. Also got an LED flash that will also operate as a torch, very handy when it's dark. And something that's quite rare these days, the back of the phone is actually removable, which it needs to be because you have your dual SIM ports and SD card or TF card if you prefer. Now the battery does appear to be removable. We have a few screws up here which look as though they would release the battery, so that's great news. It's not something you get very often these days. I'll just pop the back on just to show you how simple that is. It just literally pops on and the phone is back together. Other bits and pieces we have in the case, we've got a little divider thing. We've got a manual, which you probably won't need to use because it's pretty straightforward. Switch it on and get going. Got a VIP card, which... right, okay, so you attach the VIP card to an email. I'm not sure how you do that. But you will get a free repair or replacement. I need to fill in the details there, which I haven't yet done. And then we have UK plug, so bought it in the UK, and a USB charging cable, which you've probably already got about 6 million of these. I know I have. So put it all back in the box apart from the phone, and we'll take a look at some of the detail. We will take a look at some of the specs. Unfortunately not waterproof. It's got an IPS display, which is good. Viewing angles are pretty spectacular, to be honest, but you kind of expect that these days. The screen is 6.1 inches, so it's quite large. The resolution is a measly 600 by 1280, which is quite low by today's standards, but given the compressed size of the device, it is noticeable, but it's not horrific. It's got 16 million colours and it's got 232 pixels per inch. It does have slightly curved glass, although it's not quite as good as what you would get on a premium device, but it does feel nice to hold. It's It's quite grippy with the case on. Without the case on, it's not as grippy, but it's not going to slip out your hand. The screen does attract fingerprints, so you might want to invest in a screen protector that will prevent that. It's capacitive, multi-touch, and it's got scratch resistant glass on the front. I don't think that it is Gorilla Glass or anything exciting like that, but it seems to have withheld any scratches from over a week's worth of daily use. The CPU is an ARM Cortex A7 1300 MHz with 4 cores. The GPU is unfortunately an ARM Mali 400, which is very aged now, with 2 cores, and it's got 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal storage, and you can add a micro SD card up to 128 GB. It's got a proximity sensor, light sensor, and an accelerometer. It runs Android 8.1 Oreo the Go edition, so some of the apps are a bit lighter. In terms of the camera, so the rear camera is 13 megapixels, getting an image of 4160 by 3120 pixels. Video, it will record 720p. It does have image stabilization, but you can switch it off, which is very useful. It does have an LED flash, and the front camera, which is in the notch there, that is 5 megapixels, and I'll just put some selfies on the screen from that front camera so you can see how they look. In terms of connectivity, it's wireless BGN. You can set it up as a hotspot so you can tether your other devices from it. It's USB 2, and it does have GPS, so you can use it for SatNav and Pokemon Go or Harry Potter or whatever you play. Unfortunately, there's no NFC, so you cannot use it for Google Pay in shops. You can use Google Pay for online purchases, but just not in the shops at a payment terminal. It's not got wireless charging, and it does have a headphone jack. It is full 4G capable, so it's a very snappy phone when it's connected, and it does work on all UK networks. So let's take a look at the UI and see how snappy it is. So I have installed some apps on here just to show you the capabilities of what it can do, but you know, it's fairly snappy, switching from screen to screen, so reasonably happy with that. The quad-core processor helps with that quite drastically. Okay, so we'll just take a quick look at some gaming on the phone with Asphalt 8 here. So, well, that was nice. Games are very much playable, and they look fairly nice on the device. Whoa, I crashed. But something a bit more modern may not quite look as smooth, so we'll take a look at some other games. So we take a look at something a bit more casual, such as Jelly Shift, and you will see that it runs perfectly. And in terms of emulation, we'll take a quick look at some N64 gameplay, if I can remember which buttons I need to press. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at Mario Kart on the N64, emulated on Mupen 64, and unfortunately we get very slow frame rates between around 19 and 24, dropping as low as about 13. So it's not quite powerful enough to be emulating at a sensible speed, but it's kind of playable. In terms of what comes installed, it's very clean actually. There's not much on there. It does come with Android Go 8.1, so you do find like things such as maps and a couple of other apps are slightly more lightweight, but you can remove them and install the full-blown apps like I've done with Google Maps. The resolution of the screen is not particularly great, which did put me off a little bit. Around the notch here, you can actually quite often see the individual pixels. You can also, something that's a bit irritating is the notch protrudes below where the notification bar ends, which is quite annoying, but it's not the end of the world for a phone at this price point. Now I'm going to put some benchmarks on the screen right now. So I think a fair comparison of this device goes against the Amazon Kindle Fire 7, the 2017 edition and the new 2019 edition. This will give you an idea of the sort of performance to expect. As you can see, the Kindle Fire, even the 2017 version, scores a lot higher on multi-core, single-core and also 3D Mark. So the thing is, you are getting a much better camera than you would on an Amazon Kindle Fire. You're not getting as much screen space, but you are getting the same resolution. So it depends what you want the device for, really. Being perfectly honest, for 60 quid, this is a really good phone. The amount of stuff you get on there, the fact that it's got the Google Play Store, access to all the games, all the apps, the fact that it comes with a case, the fact that it almost looks like an iPhone, if your standards are quite low or your attention to detail is quite low. I found after using it for a week that it does do everything I need it to. I was even using it in my car for satellite navigation. I would actually say that because this is only 60 quid, if you get a cheap pay-as-you-go SIM card, put it in here, you could actually use this as a sat-nav permanently in your car. It is great as a second spare phone. The fact that it's dual SIM as well. Sometimes if your workplace doesn't provide you with a device, these dual SIM devices are fantastic. The fact you can put a 128GB memory stick in there and take half decent photos means that really you are getting exceptional value for money. Now if you do want to go ahead and purchase one of these phones, then please use the link below in the description, as it really does help my channel. And if you've not yet subscribed, please also hit the subscribe and the notification bell, and I will very much appreciate that. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.